And let's try again. Perfect. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to these finals of the UiPath Automation Awards. It's great to see everyone sitting here in person. It's great to be talking to everyone watching us from home or the office or anywhere you may be. This hybrid format is something that's a great thing, really. It allows you to just join from anywhere you are. So I'm very happy to be here. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Andrei Degeler. I am a journalist at TechEU. We write about the European tech ecosystem. We have been covering the UiPath, the success of the company. We have been covering some of the startups and scale-ups that are competing today, and I do hope to run much more stories on them. So this is the third year of the UiPath Automation Awards. The goal of this award is to help identify the next generation of technologies and products in automation, in enterprise automation that are coming from the Central and Eastern European region and Turkey. And this has been going really great so far. This competition has produced a whole lot of interesting startups and has supported a whole lot of interesting companies. And UiPath itself, being one of the biggest, probably the biggest success story from CE, one of the biggest success stories in Europe, is now given back to the community. This is a great thing to see, supporting these startups coming from the region in this particular industry. So this year's awards are done in partnership with AWS Activate, and AWS Activate is a program that's specifically designed for startups and early-stage entrepreneurs that offer the resources that they need to start on AWS. I will not go very much into what exactly AWS is given, but I can tell you that every applicant to this competition has received something from AWS, and the winners of today will receive each $25,000 worth of AWS credits, as well as mentoring and tech support for AWS Cloud and architectural review. And believe me, if you are working on AWS, this is something that's very, very important for you. So there are two categories of companies competing today. There are startups and there are scale-ups, both working in the enterprise automation. We got 6 finalists competing here, 6 finalists that were chosen from 125 applications. And before I move on to the actual competition, I'm sorry if you're waiting for it, just give me a couple of minutes. I want to bring some context on. And I just wanted to tell you that these 6 startups have been chosen very carefully. They went through, well, you can tell it's hell of a selection process, and all the judges here were involved in it. First of all, the applications were screened to make sure they satisfy to all the criteria, and then they had calls with jury members to make sure that their technology and their product is good enough to be in this competition. And also, in some cases, for some particularly complicated startups, they actually also had to go through additional technical analysis. And here they are now competing to win the main prize for each category. So if we can have a round of applause to all the startups that made it to the finals. Great, thanks so much. And now, this process that I just described, it makes this competition very different from most of the others. So I'm a tech journalist. I've been writing about tech for 10 years, and I have judged a bunch of competitions myself. And what it normally looks like for a judge is that you come to an event, you get to the award ceremony, and that's usually when you see the startups for the first time. Maybe you got the description before that, you maybe read it, but that's pretty much it. In this case, the judges were very much involved into all the screening process, so actually they know a lot about these startups, and so you may expect much deeper questions, much more meaningful interactions with the startups in here than you would normally expect. So let us give a big round of applause to the jury as well, and I'm going to introduce them in a second. So in the jury today, we have got Varga Moyed, the Chief Strategy Officer at UiPath, present here in person. You can get up, you can get up, you can get up. That's you. Boris Krumry, Global VP Automation Innovations at UiPath, also present in person. Please get up. We got Shonam Khaitan, the head of startup and venture capital at AWS, calling us in remotely. Can we have Shonam on the screen? Great. Hey, Shonam, great. Thanks a lot for being here. We got Andrei Bartosz, the general partner at Credo Ventures, also present in person. Another judge, Ursula Morgenstern, the president of global growth markets at Cognizant, also present right here. Ursula. And also calling in, we got Reshma Sohoni, founding partner at Seedcamp. Hi, Reshma, so great to see you. So I'm almost finished with the intro. Just a couple of housekeeping announcements. First, we will have presentations from 3 startups. Then we will have presentations from 3 scale-ups. Startups and scale-ups, you've got 15 minutes per presentation, which means that you've got 7 minutes to pitch and then 8 minutes to answer the questions from the jury. After all this is done, jury will get out of this room to talk and deliberate and decide on who the winners are. During this time, there will be a fireside chat. I will be talking on this stage to Martin Rehak from Resistant AI, and I do say that you should stay here for this, because it's going to be an interesting conversation in which Martin will make an exclusive announcement of something really good that's happening to the company right now. So after that, the jury will be back, and we will have the jolly and happy ceremony of awarding the winners of the UiPath Automation Awards, the 3rd edition. Now, it is time to start. Without further ado, I want to invite the first presenting startup on stage. Please come on stage, Pavel and Camille from DemoBoost.
Hello, hello. Oh, it's on. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Are we good to go? Awesome. So, hello, everyone. My name is Pavel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of DemoBoost, and we are here with Kamil, who's our co-founder and CTO, representing our amazing team behind DemoBoost, a SaaS solution to easily create, share, and track your product demos. So, when we talk about how DemoBoost started, we oftentimes start with that silly joke. What does a Salesforce salesperson, an engineering manager, and an entrepreneur integrator have in common? Well, in our case, it was demos, because together we did a lot of them, and we actually saw firsthand how important they are for the process, because the good demos, well, they win deals. The bad ones, they actually lose them. But actually, we were also very surprised by how many problems there are with the demos. Not only you're spending a lot of time and money to prepare and deliver them, but then the customer experience is really lacking. I mean, customers are waiting weeks just to see some screen share of something, right? We saw our fair share of blue screens and errors during these demos, and then we actually could not answer a question: what makes a good demo? We had no insight into that. Then at first, we actually thought we were alone in this, but we talked to other big tech firms and teams there, and the pre-sales people were telling us, hey, we too spent hours just to do some minor changes in the demos. Then we talked to consultants, and they were telling us, hey, we're actually being forced to choose between paid projects and free demos, and the choice is pretty obvious for them. And then integrators, they actually told us that some things are actually impossible to demo, like integrations or multi-channel journeys, without doing a POC that's going to take months. Okay, so we dug a little deeper, and we found there's actually a lot of companies with these problems. Not only there are 27,000 plus SaaS vendors out there globally, but there's also thousands more of companies who are selling these solutions, like partners, resellers, integrators. So we thought, hey, we should do something about it, and that's how DemoBoost came about. And really, it's a very simple solution. It does 4 things. First, it enables you to capture your product for a demo with a couple of clicks, an easy extension in all its glory. Second, you can actually save all the time for prep and delivery with a tool that's easier than PowerPoint, so that you're always ready to demo. Third, you can delight your prospects and customers with beautiful, interactive, on-demand demos. And fourth, with the tracking and analytics, you can actually know exactly what your customers and prospects focus on with their time, clicks, and shares. And then the best thing is these demos never crash, so they just work. There's no errors. But really what's important is that this solution brings a whole new approach to what demos mean for an organization. Because typically when you think about demos, well, they exist as a particular part of the sales process, right? You do the qualification, discovery, and then the demo. But now with something like DemoBoost, you can actually expand that experience, that personalized value for the customer with the product across the whole life cycle. From marketing, where you can use it for your campaigns, for your landing pages, etc. Of course, to sales, for your qualification, discovery, delivery of the demo, follow-ups. But then actually, you can also use it for customer success, onboarding, training, because these are great, safe training environments for people to learn about the product. But what's also very important is that this new approach is very complementary to how companies operate today. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, we will not replace your technical 2-hour deep dive or a POC into the product. No, what we'll rather do is we'll make sure that when a customer gets to that stage, and you'll invest your technical resources in all of that, the customer will be more focused, more qualified, more interested. We will also not replace your trials and videos because they're great educational and general kind of marketing materials. Rather, what we're trying to do is we're trying to empower organizations to deliver this personalized value across the whole customer lifecycle, like I was saying, and then actually for all the teams inside of the organization to do that. Sales, marketing, customer success, independent of the technical resources. And then equip all of them with more data about the customers and the product themselves, right? But to do all of that, you actually need some cool technology behind that and a smarter guy to talk about all of that. So Kamil, floor is yours.
Thanks, Pavel. So our technology is really built on 2 pillars, right? The first one is it basically works with anything. The second one, it's easy to use. These 2 things give us a quick time to value. And you can ask, well, what does it really mean to be, right? Well, if your product uses web, we support you out of the box. So there is no integration needed. Plus, there is no implementation time, meaning you can literally start with creating the first demo, share this with your customer in like 1 hour. But this is what we have today, right? But let's talk about the future. When you build a tool like this, you can focus either inward, think inward about something very complex like Adobe Photoshop for creating demos, or you can look outward, and that's exactly what we focus on, helping our customers to deliver value to their customers. And now you can ask, why? Well, if you build something like Photoshop, every time you do a new demo, you still need a specialist to help you out. So the bottleneck is still there. It's not being removed. But if you think about what your customers really want, they want the demo that's available, it's easy to share, it's collaborative, so they can make the purchasing decision, right? And that's why our technology roadmap looks like this. It's 3 main areas. The first, CX and collaboration. Imagine you could record yourself explaining the product and collaborate with your customers through messages. Then insights. What if you knew which demos impact your business? Combine demo and CRM data. And then, when creating and managing, think about custom elements you could add to your demo to bring more robustness and coolness, really. I saved the last for the best, because when you think about product data, if you think about who currently uses your product, right, there's only like 1/10 of people who actually experience your product. Think about all of the leads, all of the prospects you talk to, there's like 10x more of them. And businesses really understand well like what happens inside their products with their existing customers. But Demo Boost will bring you this new set of data, and a lot of new product data, but also a super unique, valuable data of people who decide stuff before they buy it. But that's only the beginning.
Exactly, because with all that data, we'll be actually able to deliver on the next phase of our journey, which is to create one place for all the buyers and sellers to interact more easily together. This means the buyers, they'll be able to learn about and actually interact with the products that are relevant to their challenges more easily and make the perfect purchasing decision. And then the sellers, they'll be able to interact with more opportunities, but only with the relevant customers. So that's actually coming soon, next year, so stay tuned. But even today, we're actually trusted by some amazing organizations, which we're super proud of, from big ones like Arrow or Citrix, to consultancies like Crafter and Exo, to small high-growth startups like Kogan or Luther One. And the best thing is, every week, more and more are coming on board. What's even more amazing is our team, because, well, they really work hard every day to deliver all that value to the customers. Super proud of them. And also the great thing is, we're growing our family every month. So on behalf of us here, the team there, thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to be here, and we're looking forward to the questions and seeing everybody around the conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Dan Boost. Now, all eyes on the jury asking the questions. Go ahead in any order that you would like to. Come on, don't be too nice. Turn it on.
I have it on, so I'll start.
You go ahead.
Okay, hi guys, Pavel, Kamil. Thank you. It was a great presentation. At the end, a little confusing with the teaser for what's coming next year, but let's not talk about that. My question is, can you walk us through your thinking around go-to-market? How do you want to take this out? And maybe for the audience here and online, just tell us a little bit about the business model.
Can I take that? All right. For sure. So, well, maybe starting with the last part. The business model is very simple. It's SaaS subscription. So we're basically selling it by seats. It's licenses. A seat, a user is somebody inside of an organization like our customer, like Arrow or Citrix, whoever has access to a library, demos, the customization of that, sharing, analytics, all that stuff. So that's the model. It's going to evolve for sure because we already see kind of the ways we can go forward with that to make it more robust and also easy for the customers. And then the go-to-market. The go-to-market is, if you think about, well, if you break it down, who's our target customer? Well, we divide it into kind of like what's on the slide, the vendor, and then the actual reseller on the partner. So we're both approaching the vendors. Sweet spot right now is around the mid-market just to get some quick adoption, but you saw some big logos there as well. And that's also pretty cool because we see the value actually in both the big ones and the small companies. But then, of course, the integrators are also there. Our kind of like unique focus on the go-to-market, I would say, is that we're actually trying to focus on these, not only big vendors, but also these distribution networks, because we can actually deliver a lot more even value to a partner that's, for example, selling Salesforce. Because not only we're giving them a tool, but we're able to give them some insights into how to best deliver a Salesforce demo. Like that's the case also because we used to be at Salesforce, but the same goes for any big vendor networks, Adobe, et cetera, Citrix, like that. So our go-to-market is like this, and then we go just directly BDRs, outbound, and doing all of that. Quickest deals close in 3-4 weeks. Of course, bigger ones sometimes take more, but it's not because we take more time to deliver the value, but actually just the compliance and all the good stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Could I just follow that up? And I really would be, who is really in the customers you named your buyer? Is it the sales director? Is it individuals? Is it enterprise licenses? Who's buying it? And who's your main competition?
That's interesting. So usually when we start talking with a customer, we start talking with the sales organization because they understand what their demo is right now. So we can talk to their challenges and pain points. That takes us to the first call, very tactically. That takes us to the first call when we show the solution, we discuss it more. On the first call, they're like, oh, wow, our marketing and CS should also see it. So then we actually expand, usually to some more conversations with them. So far, at the end of the day, we're either actually the budget spent on Demo Boost is coming from either sales enablement budget, all right, or marketing budget where they have marketing automation tools and things of that nature. Yeah, and that's kind of what's going on inside. But that's also really cool because think about it like this. I mean, you can start just with a use case for sales, but then there's already kind of the wheels are turning for different use cases at customers, and we already start seeing the expansion inside of these accounts. So we can start, with a couple or a dozen licenses for the sales organization for their sales and pre-sales people. But then, hey, how about the marketing tries it out? Let's start with 2 licenses, and let's roll it out for all of that, and then customer success and etc. So hope that helps. Oh, competition, my bad. So, well, okay, so competition is really when we're approaching the customers. Well, it's very new, which is also kind of it's something that we have to educate somebody about, like what does something like this do? But the competition really was we're trying to compete with what they're using right now. So some companies like Salesforce, for example, I mean, they have a lot of different resources. They have their own demo environments and their pre-sales engineers, etc. So we kind of have to fit into like, the kind of little tools they found and like how to code something easier, etc. And sometimes we're also, approached by companies that do their demos using tools like, I don't know, Figma or Sketch, something like that. That's just more flat. But then it's also a very, very easy argument for us because, hey, listen, for you to use Figma or Sketch, well, you need your UX people, right, or something like that. A salesperson will not use Figma to do the demo, right? But there, we're trying to approach something with, I mean, like I was saying, it's easier than PowerPoint. Anybody could use it. We want the whole organization to use it. Because, I mean, why should there be a bottleneck and how do you promote your
Yeah, but
product?
the pre-sales will use Figma and PowerPoints to click on and so forth and do it with screen captures. So probably you'll find more competition around the training, people who use capture for training. But I understand your solution is far more unique. You are basically capturing at the presentation layer so that even when you interact with it, it's kind of, which is still a mystery how you do it. I mean, but you're using, and this comes to the point you're saying here, something like works with anything, which is not quite true, right? Because I can't do it for desktop environments. I can use it in a browser. I have an addition in the browser, but it's not that I can use it for some desktop application or so forth, only through a virtual desktop environment.
Yeah, the asterisk is if it's on the web, then it works with anything, yeah.
Yeah, but that's, kind of shortens also the bandwidth of areas or products
Yes.
that are not.
Exactly. This is what it is today, right? We figure out how to do it on the web and just make it easy to get it out there. Obviously, we're thinking about supporting more platforms. It's just a little bit different product that we need to, once we get the adoption, we get the resources, we try to think about how to get the more coverage. But right now, it's just web. Mm-hmm.
Right. Is there something in your roadmap to tackle that as well, or to kind
Maybe in
of?
the future. This is not something we'll look straight away.
Right.
Straight away, we have so many different things to cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you target SaaS. Okay, good.
On the user, first of all, I would have loved to have a demo of Demo Boost, but that's another story. The licensing, if I understand it, there is somebody who's going to create the demo, and there are going to be people using the demo. So is that the same license, or there are two different type of licenses, or am I understanding the product wrongly?
Yeah, so for now, it's simplified kind of like that. So there's one license for everybody, and they get access to all the features like that. But you're definitely touching on something that where our price model was going to evolve into. For sure, we already see that kind of demand for kind of having the kind of creator a license where, somebody is going to be able to create something from scratch, have a lot more functionalities, and then somebody like a viewer, kind of like a Tableau model or something similar. Yeah, that's a good point towards that. It's very soonish it's going to evolve into that for sure.
Okay, we're out of time, but let us still hear from the remote judges. So Reshma and Shonam, do you guys have questions? Go ahead.
I think that I'm trying to kind of figure out how you get towards like 100 million revenue number, and maybe baked into that is a little bit around, the fact that your solution has to fit into a suite of sales solutions, right? And kind of a process for your customers. So I guess maybe the punchline is, how do I not see this as a feature of a product or a product suite and a standalone business? And kind of keep retaining yourself as a business towards getting to like 100 million in revenue.
So if I understand the question correctly, it's how do we, not be replaced just as a feature, but how are we a standalone business? Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, how are you a pain point, such a pain point that like you cannot be taken out and you become, irreplaceable in the company?
I think that's a great point, and it kind of goes a little bit to what Kamil was touching on with kind of going inwards or backward, inwards or outwards. Well, because we kind of think that if you go inwards with a tool like this, you're right, it's a particular spot in the sales process now, although you can kind of expand. First off, if you expand into these different areas like marketing and CX or something like that with a tool like that, you become more sticky, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, Salesforce or somebody else like Adobe can't really come in and kind of replace that easily because there's many different stakeholders who are not used to their solutions or something like that. So we become a kind of like a placeholder name for the organization. So that's number one. And two is what Kamil was touching on, that if we focus inward and we build like that kind of Photoshop for demos, then it's true that we're very much focused and it's literally just somebody adding features to that, right? But when we're focusing outward and we're trying to focus on the customer experience, then it's also our customers are starting to use that in front of their customers. So their customers are also getting used a little bit to a particular, types of interactions and the software like that. And then if we kind of continue with that and kind of what's also in the future, then we think it's going to be a little harder to replace like a, just a tool that's customer facing because it's more delicate for organizations like that. We're not just going to be like an internal tool for creating demos. I hope that makes sense, but it's a tough question too. I gotta say. I mean, we're thinking about it how to maintain that competitive advantage.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Demo Boost. We are very much over time already with the first startup, so I will have to ask you to leave the stage and leave the clicker and the mic to the next startup. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for the presentation. Our next startup pitching is remote. It is the company coming from Hungary and the Netherlands called Circuit. So I want to invite to our virtual stage Christoph Nagy, the CEO and founder of Circuit.
Hi all. Good afternoon. Do you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we do. Yes.
Do you see my slides too?
Yes, indeed. Just go ahead.
Do you see my slides and do you hear me well?
Yes, we can see you, we can hear you. Go ahead and go ahead with your pitch.
Okay, great. So I hope everyone is well. And my name is Christoph. I'm the founder and CEO of Circuit. And I'm going to talk about Circuit, AI for livestock health management. Or I'm going to talk about pigs at the Wolf Summit. Basically, I'm very honored to be here as coming from a fourth generation agriculture family. I hope together we can build a sustainable future together. When pig farming started in Mesopotamia, people used their eyes to monitor the pigs and detect illnesses. Today, 10,000 years later, we use the same technology. A farm worker has 1 second per day per animal. That's the limitation of the current solution. This is a Haas University study. Due to this limitation, there is a high mortality rate, 16%, unsustainable. There is no early detection. African swine fever killing 1/4 of the total pig population, very well known in Poland too. There is a low animal welfare, tail biting, cannibalism. The pigs bite each other and there is a wound, and through the wound the bacteria goes into the animal. The only solution, extensive usage of antibiotics, is not sustainable anymore. Killing through resistant bacteria 700,000 people every year, and in 2050 it's going to kill more people than cancer. It's not only affect the meat, but through the manure and the water, it directly affects the fruits and vegetables and drinking lines. So we have to solve it locally. Here comes Circuit solution. We oversee the animals with standard security cameras. We send the footages to our servers, analyzed by artificial intelligence. If something is going wrong, a pig drinking twice as normal, activity is going down, we alert the farmer so the farmer can intervene the sick animal, change the ventilation system, no antibiotics needed. Through our platform, we can reduce the mortality rate 50%. We can detect sicknesses and illnesses upfront so they don't spread from the pen or from the farm. And we can optimize farm labor. We can send the right person at the right time to the right place. Our solution is reaching humanized accuracy, but we are doing this 24/7 instead of the 1 second per day per animal. Our return on investment for the farmers, we save 17.1 euro per pig per year, minus the software cost, which is our part, 6.6 euro per pig per year, minus the hardware cost, which is a 3.3 euro per pig per year, provided by our partners like Hikvision, T-Systems. They're not only able to set up the cameras any parts of the world in 4 days, but they can also pre-finance it for the farmers. So no barriers for the farmers. At the end, there is 7.2 euro profit saving per year per pig, and this is a 25% up to increase margin for the farmer. Our total market is a 4.2 billion euro market per year. Regarding our real revenue, real clients, real traction, we have access to 40 clients, including 6 million pigs. That's our bottom up. We have 7 paying pilots before commercialization at 20,000 per month revenue. But more importantly, because we are building a platform, we can keep our sustainable competitive advantage for the future. We have some of the projects mentioning in the leading pig producing countries, Eastern Europe, also Western Europe and Southern Europe. We also are working together in 2 continents, including 1 farm and project in Thailand. Regarding our go-to-market strategy, Our first entry point is direct sales to the farmers, and that's 20% of our revenue coming from, and that's going to be also in the future. We need the direct contact with the farms for improvement. But 80% of our revenue will come from feed companies because they have the access to the markets, and that helps our go-to-market to reach next level. We also do some community sales with social media. We have a great team. We have computer vision experts from Volvo and NASA. We have PhD in animal life sciences, and she's also owner of a pig farm. I'm coming from work for Philips, which is a technology company, and Nutreco, which is a feed company. So I'm combining my agri and tech knowledge to create change. I also been an export manager, so I open up new businesses from Southeast Asia to the USA. Regarding our 5 years plan, in the next this year we are finishing our paying pilots and making them more robust. The next year we are accessing to 20 farms, which are from our 40 client base, is not that difficult. And with that, we are also 2023, we want to be the leading in those countries that we are already there. In the 2024 and 2025, we want to scale it up for China and US, but also scale it up for all animal species. Regarding our financials, we want to break even in 2023 with the current projects. And basically, we already have financial support from Silicon Valley investors, but also from the biggest agriculture bank, including Rabobank. Our social and environmental impact is really important. We have it. We have 6% of reduction of antibiotic usage, which is a huge impact because 1.5 billion euro health cost for the European Union only. We can also reduce half mortality, which means reduce half the CO2 production. And we can also improve food quality with traceability. Why choose us? Choose us because we can help precision farming. We can build a platform and solve 80% of the issues on the farms. And we can also do industrial automation, machine-to-machine communication. With the 50,000 cash prize of the automation award, we will be achieving our next R&D milestones and helping with animal welfare and aggressivity detection. But we can also support our commercialization activities, which will start next year, beginning of next year. With the AWS credit, which AWS we work for a long time, we can boost our current pilots, and that will be also supporting our current R&D. More importantly, our solution is modular. We can scale it up for all animal species, and we are talking about a 400 billion euro market. If you say that the current livestock production is sustainable, we cannot help you. But if you say, no, we need a 21st century solution, then choose us, select us for the Automation Award. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to the questions. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Serkan. I am certainly much more excited about the pig farming now than I was before this event. So, questions from the jury, and this time let us start from the remote side of our judge panel. So, Shonam, let's start with you if you got any questions at all.
So, thank you, Christoph. Great presentation. Can you just talk a bit about how you are thinking slightly deeper on the GTM side, and what partnerships have you been able to crack right now?
So with the partnerships, we are working. You mean suppliers? Because we've been selected by AVS and also NVIDIA as a top AI startup in Amsterdam in 2 years ago.
From a GTM perspective, like if you think about your GTM.
Go to market.
Yeah.
So regarding our go-to-market strategy, we have a signed collaboration agreement with the biggest feed company in the world from Thailand. And we have also working with many of the leaders from Germany, from Netherlands, from Hungary. And they are basically covering the full market spectrum at the moment.
But what do they do with you? Like, do they help you sell solutions to their farms? Do they take it as a captive technology? Like, I'm just trying to understand a bit more your sales cycle.
Yes, so our go-to-market strategy, 20% direct sales, 80% through feed companies. Basically, there is a commodity market. They compete in the market, so they offer added-on services. That sometimes they put it in the package solution together with the feed, and they get back the profit through the feed which they are selling. So that's a combined solution, and their services and our unique service will help them to lock in their clients for 3 years. So that's the partnership base, if it answers your question.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Sorry, just a follow-up, Reshma. Sorry, I'll leave it back to you. But I'm assuming that feed companies are not specialists at installing cameras in the appropriate places. And so my question is, how much fine-tuning does it require for the solution to work? And the way you install the cameras, and does it, how easy is it to deploy, and how will you solve for that problem?
So some of the countries already have the cameras. For example, China, which is half of the total pig population, they already install cameras in the stables. But if they don't have it, we have supplier partners like Hikvision, biggest camera manufacturer in the world, or T-Systems. They can do the installation in 4 days. In 4 days, any parts of the world. We did it in Thailand, we did it in Spain. We never been there by physically. And then the software installation is completely going through online, so we don't have to be there again.
More questions? Go ahead.
So, hi, Christoph. Thanks for the presentation. I think it is fair to say that almost in every competition, there's a surprise. Sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive. This time, it's a very positive surprise. I did not expect talking about pigs in an automation awards competition. My question is around the addressable market. So can you, is this limited to pigs, or can you, on the way, of course, not immediately, expand this to other livestock or other use cases, or is the technology exclusive to pigs, and why? Thank you.
We started in 2016 as first mover to the pig industry because that was the biggest chunk of meat consumption. But our solution is modular. We have unique advantage by the data, by the partnership, but we can also scale it up for all animal species. It's around the 400 billion euro market we are talking about. It can include poultry, ruminants, fish, and even in the future pest detection for farmland.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah, I was, Christoph here. I was wondering, again, what is your competition? Because it sounds like a very specialized solution, and you have, I know, technology in farms which is really controlling the feed of the pigs and animals. So again, being so specialized, are there not competition coming in who can do what you're doing? And already installed in the farms from a technology perspective?
Of course, it's a lot of followers, and the market is the livestock monitoring market is booming, because at the moment, just to understand, there is a human labor shortage so severe in the US that no people can come to your farm to check the animals. So it's not a nice to have solution. This is a must solution. Of course, there are many companies doing a similar solution, but mostly for cows, because and those companies, of course, can be a future competitor. But our advantage is, like, we have the biggest annotated database, including 1,000 videos annotated for pigs, all 2 continents, 7 different countries, all genetic types, top pigs, downbred. So we are leading with this side, and we also have several IP protection. But do you have some specific sense of competitors? Do you thinking about a specific country or a specific company? Then I can give you a more detailed answer.
Well, I like to kind of, pick exactly on that point, because the technology you're applying is basically just looking at the pigs, and you can count how many pigs are drinking, how many pigs are kind of moving around, but you can't even go down to the individual pig. So from a computer vision technology, I felt it was really, not so advanced. And my fear here is, in terms of competition, is take someone, a company is really even better in computer vision and training it on other livestock and taking the same idea. And that is the bit that I was a bit concerned when looking at your product. I think you have a great niche, but if other companies kind of pick up on that who are stronger in AI, it could be, or in the animal food supply, hardware supply, and so forth, or the robotics you have in farms. It goes exactly to the point Ursula has mentioned. I feel there's quite a challenge for you to coming ahead. And looking at your plan here, you're marking Netherlands, Hungary, Spain, Germany, but then you have Thailand, and it should be much faster, much more.
Is there something I should answer, or just give a general?
So it was a comment and a question. Now comes the question: how do you, going to be prepared for that competition that you actually going to meet, and how are you going to prepare to grow faster in these markets?
Yeah. So just to give a short intro of the product, we individually follow these animals. They have their unique numbers. We know what is the behavior they are doing. So I think our software is very advanced. But to comment on your point, the leading and always the right way to winning the competition is you have to have the strongest partnership, and that's why I'm here today to find new partners on the investment side, on the R&D side, on the automation side. Your company basically doing automation in the next level. We can combine IoT sensors, we can combine alerts, we can do it for mobile phone, we can do it for screen or any kind of ways. So I think the partnership levels, which we build it up, including Rabobank, Silicon Valley investors, including NVIDIA, Lenovo, Amazon, including Hikvision from China, including the biggest feed company in the world, and also several leading feed companies in the world, it's going to be the winning solution. So I hope today I can also find new partnerships and we can move this to the next level, and we can make automation and robotics for this industry where it's really needed.
Okay, that's all we've got the time for. Thank you so much, Christoph. Let's give a round of applause to Circuit. And our next pitch from a startup from Romania that's called Easy Sales. And I'm happy to invite to this stage Ciprian and Julian, the CEO and CTO. Come on stage. Let's give a round of applause.
Hello, everybody. Have you bought anything online lately? According to Google, 63% of people are shopping online. Would you like to be able to buy any product in the world at the best price at your local online shop? I hope you'd like that, because that's what we're trying to achieve. So I'm Iulian Cazacu, Chief Product Officer at Easy Sales. I'm joined here by my brother, Ciprian Cazacu, our CEO, and we'd like to tell you the story of how we're trying to automate e-commerce infrastructure.
So we start in 2018, looking for some clients, trying to make some selling in order to create websites for e-commerce, because we had some experience in this area, and we encountered a new client that wasn't looking for creating websites. He's looking for help him to put some products on marketplaces. Let's assume that client is John, and John came to us, hey guys, can you help me to put my products on marketplace? Of course, we think about it, John, come on, hire a student. It's not for us, we are doing websites. But shortly after that, another client came to us, John too, and he had the same problem. We think about it, maybe it's something that is not covered by the market. So that was how we started. And we saw that there are many other problems that are not covered by any solution. So if they want to do something, someone else should build some integration, someone else should build a lot of things, and that will take a lot of time, and of course, they'll cost a lot of money. Keeping that in mind, we study, hey, can we build something, automate something in order to make it for everyone? How big is our market? Let's study it a little bit, and we saw that e-commerce market is great. It's very, very big, and we had a lot of opportunities. In the same time, we saw a trend here. So a trend of marketplaces. Every big shop that selling online trying to become a marketplace. It came the trend from the US, and they also expand to Europe and so on. So wow, here it's a huge market that we can cover it. And we were lucky because of, unfortunately, pandemic came. And also, we had a lot of new customers that we didn't think about it at the beginning that want to pass from the offline sales to the online sales. And our solution will cover even those one.
So we worked from the beginning with our early adapters and with John, trying to tackle the real-life challenges that they faced. We envisioned this product that once you start using it, you will never want to go back to the way you worked before. We focused mainly on 3 issues. Fast listing of your products on available marketplaces, even on international ones with the help of our automatic translation. Real-time stock synchronization so that John would not face overlapping orders anymore and he will be able to fulfill them. And a single centralized order management panel connected with everything John would need, from billing providers to couriers and accounting fulfillment services. Basically, we took all these separate environments and we automated the way they communicate with each other. We built Easy Sales with scalability in our mind. Even from the beginning, we had the great ambition, and we tried to create software that is very flexible, that is ready to be deployed globally, and can support large spikes of user registrations. Easy Sales is actually modular. It's very easy to add or enhance certain features, or maybe even isolate some of them on some packages we offer, so that we can test new business models. We currently use around 50 servers that communicate with each other and gives us the leverage of moving resources and load according to our needs. It's also very easy for us to attract new workforce because we promoted this in our company culture to work with new and cool technology, but having in mind to always use popular frameworks among developer community.
So we were, after the first year, we had a lot of Johns in our platform, a SaaS platform. And we had a question, whoa, why are those Johns here and why they love our platform? And we had a survey through them, and we find out that most of them loved that we are very, very fast. We discovered that 80% of them, in less than 20 minutes after they create the account, they start using the daily job that before and using the platform. Of course, nevertheless, the second reason it was, okay, your platform is a no-code platform. It's very, very easy to use. You do not have any technical skill, and you can use it. They even have a comment from them that, okay, I love Easy Sales. You know why I love Easy Sales? I love Easy Sales because Easy Sales is easy. It's very easy to use. It's intuitive, and it's friendly with the user. It's easy. Of course, we had a lot of other customers that, starting with our platform, they start to sell online in other countries abroad. So basically, they tripled their value. All of that made us to have some results, we hope that are good results, in order to help us to go further. Basically, we start with first MVP in April 2019, and currently, in this summer, we start also to expand in Bulgaria. We have a team also there, and now we are working to expansion in Hungary to build a team there.
So as we expand in more and more countries, we are looking for strategic partners in order to create the first wave of awareness. Of course, we will also have to integrate a lot of local softwares from marketplaces, couriers, and other local use softwares. But the good part is that we can work on these things in a parallel way. So we can work on multiple integrations at the same time, which gives us a very fast time to go to new regions and new markets. We estimate that by 2024 we will reach 20,000 subscriptions. E-commerce is a very complex domain, and we think that we can leverage AI and technology in order to expand globally and automate e-commerce infrastructure.
We are Easy Sales. We are a startup from Romania. We were 7 people at the beginning of this year. We accelerate. Now we are 15, and we'll hope that we will try and have results in order to automate the e-commerce globally. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you, Easy Sales. Thanks a lot. And now, if we can bring the remote part of the jury on screen as well, please. And let's go with the questions. Reshma, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question, which is, kind of looking at your commercial roadmap as such over the next few years. I guess I'm curious: is your product at feature parity at a global level? And if it is, then why not skip over kind of Eastern Europe, kind of serve it later, right? Why not go to the US already, or even Western Europe already, and kind of take it the other way around? Because because I'm not sure. I mean, it's such a competitive space. Are you at feature parity with what's available for e-commerce players in the US or Western Europe?
Yes, we have a lot of reasons. First of all, probably is because we start opportunistic, as I said. It wasn't a thing that we think about it very much. It was, okay, look, it's not we do not have a solution. Let's find and create the very fastest solution. Also, in Romania, where we started, we already built the infrastructure in order, the infrastructure that we automated, and in order we can reuse it for most countries that are nearby us, in order to permit for Poland, for let's say, to send their goods in Romania, Bulgaria, and Hungary. It will be the fastest way. And also, if we go in a bigger market, we'll need also an investment. And to have an investment, we should have some financial results in order to not dilute too much. So it's okay to go in US, we want to go in US, but for going there, we need a lot of financial resources, because, the cost of acquisition of a client, it's much higher there than in our region. So if you do not find anyone who invests a lot of money in us, we'll go step by step in order to create more and more value for our business and for our customers also.
Does that answer your questions, Reshma?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
I mean, to take this a little forward and build on what Reshma asked, can you talk, in your slides, we didn't see anything on competition. Can you talk about the competitive situation? Because I feel, as Reshma already kind of implied, this is a pretty crowded market. It's not like we're at the beginning of an e-commerce wave. We're almost like at the end of one big wave for e-commerce, which happened in 2020 due to the pandemic. What is your competition, and how do you view your differentiating factors?
Okay, so our competition, we don't have. Okay, very complex question. Regarding the last part, there are already some tools in order to send your products to marketplaces. So let's say you have a Shopify store, you can already send some information to Amazon or to eBay, but they are very limited in functionality because they work within that environment, within Shopify. Imagine our product, we extract the data from the online shop and we can shape it in any way we want. So we are a software specialized on integration. Shopify will never want to leverage more orders on Amazon for their customers. They want to have their customers sell more on their shop. Okay, and I don't really remember the first question, sorry.
And I will add more. Starting from this year, Shopify also announced that it will not offer support to the module that integrate with Amazon. And they will let third parties to do that because, as my brother said, it's not in their interest in order to create orders, products on different marketplaces. And the first questions, please repeat it because
I remember.
You remember?
Yeah. So we are not able to expand globally all at once because, as we stated, we have to integrate all the local software that a company uses. So we started automating infrastructure in Romania, and afterwards, sellers from Hungary and Bulgaria and nearby regions said, hey, we also want to sell on Romanian marketplaces and on the things that you have already integrated. So it makes the most sense for us to integrate, to expand in nearby countries and take it step by step. Yeah, but it's not just about Amazon, because you need a lot more selling channels in order to, the more selling channels you have, the more our product makes sense. And in Eastern European region, there's a lot of barrier because of the languages. It's a very fragmented market, and our product is most powerful here, especially.
Could you remind me about your pricing strategy and?
Yeah, we are a traditional SaaS platform. Our subscription starts from 29 euros and ranges to 250, whatever. But it's based on the amount of orders that you process in the platform. So that gives us the direct incentive to help our customers be more successful because if they are more successful, we are also more successful. We also have some special features that we charge at extra cost, but they're not that important for our revenue right now. But for definitely, we have a lot of opportunity to upsell a lot of more things.
Is the per order a fixed amount or a percentage of the sales?
No, fixed amount.
What is it?
We actually tested, so yes. Customers were very against percentage type charging because they already have some orders in their websites and marketplaces.
What is the fixed amount per order?
What is the fixed amount?
Yes.
29 euros for 300 orders.
Per order.
Oh, per order. We don't have fixed amount per order, so it's in steps.
Because you said that your pricing is per order.
It's based on the amount of orders. So the first
you have
package,
bundles of orders.
More packages.
Okay.
The first package is 29.
So for instance, for 29, how many orders is it?
300 orders.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I will have to stop the questions at this point. Thank you, Easy Sales. Thanks a lot. And this is a wrap for the first half of today's UiPath Automation Finals. Thanks a lot. And we are about to start the second part, which is scale-up pitches. And before we do, I also wanted to add some context and tell what exactly this is that these startups are competing for. So for the startup category, the winner will get mentorship from UiPath, also a 50,000 euro cash prize. That's not nothing for a startup for sure, and also substantial tech and marketing support over a period of 12 months. So basically, for the next year, UiPath has got you covered in terms of support and mentorship. For a scale-up, if you win this one, you get the C-level mentorship, sales and marketing support, including the opportunity to present the winning technology to the global clients of UiPath. So you will get the ear of some of the largest and most successful companies in the world who would be actually interested in looking at your product and maybe even trying it. And also, the winning scale-up will have their winning solution featured in the UiPath Immersion Lab. So it is time to start the second half of UiPath Automation Awards, the scale-up pitches, and our next one is a remote one. It is from the company called Drone Hub. So I invite to our virtual stage Vadim Melnik, the CEO and founder of Drone Hub. I'm going to do it once again. I want to invite to our virtual stage Vadim Melnik, the CEO and founder of Drone Hub. Do we have Vadim calling in?
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, and now I can see you already. Hey Vadim, great to see you. And do we have your slides?
I
don't see your slides yet. Let's just see what happens.
Okay.
God bless technology. God bless the hybrid format. And here we are. Brilliant. You can start the presentation. Great.
Perfect.
Please go ahead.
Hi again. My name is Vadim. I'm founder and CEO of Drone Hub. And speaking about my background, it's more than 10 years of robotics and autonomous systems. So what we do? We're in the drone market. We're in the autonomous drone sector. And before I say about our solution, I'd like first a few words about the drone market as it looks today. Because right now, a drone market is similar to the car market 100 years ago. And 100 years ago, a car was a strange hobby. And for the long distances, it wasn't even a competitor to the horse because there was no infrastructure to charge it. And the same is with drones today. We speak about autonomous delivery by the drones. We speak about autonomous border control, and it sounds like a beautiful poetry, but the reality is that every 30 to 40 minutes, we need an operator, a human, that will take over control of the drone, land it, exchange the battery, and then and then put the mission again. So in 2017, we received our first contract from the European Space Agency. And this was our first and large client, and they wanted to create the autonomous infrastructure where any drone can land autonomously without an operator, exchange the battery, and then continue its mission. And the story behind this is very simple because they send this request for information, request for technology to 10 companies, and we were the only one who responded, so we were the first one to sign the contract. And from 2017 to 2019, we were working to build this autonomous ground infrastructure. And in 2019, it was so mature that we were able to sell it to the largest CE company that is working in the oil and gas sector. They use it to monitor its 700 hectares terrain and support its control and its protect services. After that, we started selling very fast and growing very fast. We started selling it to the large oil and gas companies, security companies, organizations like European Defense Agency, and all looked perfect until we realized that we are solving only one piece of the equation, because we were delivering a solution to the clients that was solving only drone automation. We were to automate drone operation, but after that, the client still needed somebody, a programmer, a user, an operator who will take all the data gathered by the drone, analyze it, and take actionable business insights. So we, in 2020, started working on the solution that will automate data processing from the drones. And this is how we came up with our hybrid cloud for drone workflow data processing. And what is so unique about it? We have a very interesting use case that we like to talk about. Some time ago, we have been working with the largest insurance company in CE. And using machine learning and image recognition, we automated for them roof damage detection with the efficiency of about 80%. And because we combined our automated hubs, which allowed to exclude the operator, and we added our machine learning and AI algorithm to detect roofs and then analyze which roofs are broken and generate a report, we were delivered to report just the day after the drone flew, instead of the 3 to 5 weeks as it takes today. And for them and for us, it was a game changer. So since that, we focused 100% on building our software cloud to automate data processing from the drones. And here we today, we are the company that is solving two fundamental problems in the drone industry. First, we exclude operators from the drone operations, and second, we exclude analysts from drone data analysis. And as of today, we are working on a pretty large market, which is right now more than 20 billion euro, $20 billion, and in 2026 it will be more than 34 billion. Our main focus right now is security market. We have most of our clients from the security market where we automate drone operations and automate data processing. But 20% of our focus is on the POCs in the new industries for us, which is the railway. We cooperate with largest logistics company called Deutsche Bahn. We are in the precision agriculture. We build algorithms for solar panels, and we believe that during the next few years will be the biggest autonomous drone delivery in the region. And we have built a few very, very successful POCs. We have sold a few dozens of drone hubs to the largest companies in the region, like the largest oil and gas company, the largest insurance company. And this led to a problem which we're facing right now, because probably we're having the problem that most of the startups would like to have. We have more customers than we can work with. So this is our 2021 problem, and luckily we have recently signed a contract for 11 million zloty. It's an equity-free contract with the European Commission, and they will help us to build the factory. So this year we're finally moving from low-scale productions where we can build a few dozens of hubs per year to the more than 600 hubs next year. And we believe that thanks to this, and thanks to our distribution network, and thanks to our cloud, we'll be the main drone player in the European Union region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vadim. Thank you so much, DroneHub. And now we can take the question. Shonan, I have not heard your voice in a long time, so you can start if you have any questions for Vadim.
Yeah. Thank you, Vadim. Vadim, can you also talk about BIT in terms of BIT on your team? Like how big is the team, and how are you thinking of taking this technology more globally? Because I think the way you are thinking about is through grants, through working with some of the more government agencies, like you talked about in your presentation. Would love to hear what your big vision for the company is.
Sure. As of today, there are almost 30 people on the team, and those are mostly engineers, software engineers. We have a very small sales team, which fortunately or unfortunately very successful, so they're generating lots of leads. But right now we are in the process of closing the big investment round, and we hope to scale during the next quarter for almost twice. So we believe that by the end of April, we'll have about 60 people on the team working on the software, working on the training models, working on the production. So this is the first part of the question. And the second part is about the regulations. And I would say that right now we are in a sweet spot, because up until 2020, we were able to sell our solutions only in Poland and Switzerland due to the regulations. But in 2021, the 1st of January 2021, the new EU-wide regulation came up, which unifies the whole sky in the European Union, which means that right now we have the same procedures in Germany, Austria, and Poland, which allowed us to start scaling up very, very quickly. And this is our main problem right now, that last year there was only Polish market available for us, and right now it's half of the world. So we are really close to the regulation process. Our head of distribution is also the CEO of the GUTMA Global UTM Association, which is the largest organization in the European Union working on the drone regulation. So we are very, very close to the drone regulation part. We see and we work what will be during the next 5 years. And what we see during the next few years, during the next years, will be moving more towards the automated sky, where it will be so-called UTM systems that will automatically control and give permissions for the commercial drones to fly.
More questions?
Vadim, here's Ursula. Question, I know you're focusing at the moment on building the integrated drones, but what's your plan with the data and the platform and the software which you're creating? Really would be interested to hear more about how you use that commercially, but also how will you further use that for your product development?
That's a very good question. So first of all, this cloud that we started working on, it's not a product that we started building in 2020. We started working on it from the very beginning, but we didn't call it cloud. We call it software to collect drone data. But when we started to apply more and more machine learning, we had a problem with the Pareto rule. To get the first 70% of the efficiency on the algorithm is very easy. You don't need a lot of data. But then to get the rest 30%, you need huge amounts of data which you need to collect, process, and analyze. And we found out that we just don't have enough data. So on our roadmap, we decided that we want to change how our cloud will look like in the next few years, and we want to make it public so any drone operator can use it to automate data processing from its drone. So as of today, this cloud is connected only to our drone hubs. It processes only our data from our drones, from our hubs, from our cameras. But we are working during this whole year to switch our business model to the software as a service, so any drone operator can use it. And as we talk right now with our new investors, we see that this for the next few years that will be the biggest revenue stream for us, because hardware is hardware. It's really hard. It's harder to scale, but the software we are building is very unique. It's still an open market. There are not so many competitors. We are in a good place because we decided not to build everything on our own. So right now we are buying a few smaller, I would say not companies, but teams. We're integrating their algorithms into our platform just to give our clients as much value as we can do in the shortest time possible.
Any more questions? Okay, I guess we're good. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Vadim. Thanks a lot to Drone Hub. And let's have a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, our next scale-up to pitch is called Apify from the Czech Republic, and I invite to this stage Jan Čurn, the CEO and co-founder of Apify. Don't hesitate to clap. Always a good idea.
Hello, can you hear me? So hi, my name is Jan Čurn, and I'm the founder and CEO of Apify, the web scraping and automation platform. The web, I'm sure you heard about it already. The web is the largest source of information ever created in the history of humanity. There has never really been anything quite like that. The problem is, though, web has been created for people, and it cannot be easily used by automated systems. So that means for a lot of things on the web, you still need people to do them manually. So we built a technology or a cloud platform that allows to turn any website into an API with the goal to automate a mundane task on the web so that people can spend their time on things that matter. So really our mission is to let people spend times on more productive work, and it's really something quite similar to the UiPath vision, every robot for every person a robot, right? So coincidentally, we are working on a quite similar problem, just from a different perspective. So where Apify can help, where can you use this kind of technology? So the number of use cases is as diverse as the web itself. So biggest segment is in e-commerce. Whenever you sell something online, you might want to know what are the others selling online, what are their prices, what kind of products. and then so on, for example, for dynamic pricing or some competitive analysis and so on. So that's where you actually need to look at the website because of the competitors, because they don't provide an API with their data, right, most of the time. Or in marketing, if you want to monitor social media to know what people are talking about your brand on Facebook or Instagram, there is no API for that. So again, you can use web to extract this kind of data. Or market research, when you're launching a new restaurant, you might want to know what are the restaurants in the area by getting data from Google Places, for example. Well, there is no API for that. And for machine learning, when you're building a machine learning systems, you need a lot of data to train your models, right? And if you're not Google or Facebook, who have tons of data from their users, well, you need to get the data somewhere. Well, there is a web out there, so you can extract the data from the web. Or, we can even build new products. We have customers who use our systems to build products, for example, that automate workflows on the web, like an unsubscription workflow, so that people can easily, cancel different subscriptions from different services. And different web aggregators, when they, for example, sell cars by aggregating offered cars from other websites and so on. Or, of course, RPA. With customers, they who automate workflows on the web, like filling forms, uploading files, and so on. So really, the number of use cases of web scraping and web automation is extremely large. So currently we have around 1,000 customers from 75 countries, including some household names. We have actually many more big names, but we are not allowed to name them, so they are not in this slide. But I will just mention, for example, Microsoft is using Apify technology to automatically scan their own websites and look for accessibility issues, so they want to make sure that their websites can be read and understood by people with disabilities. Or Samsung, who's using our technology to get up-to-date data about security vulnerabilities in their own products and so on. So they collect this data from the web, and they use our technology for that. There is one other example I would like to mention that's also something we would have never thought of before the customers contacted us. Thorn is a US non-profit agency or company co-founded by Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, and they are actually searching for missing children. And how do they do that? They use data from the web. So they use Apify technology to gather, for example, offers from different escort sites or different sexual services providers, or how to call it. And so we process 30 different websites every few minutes in the US, extract data including images, and they use AI and machine learning to match those images with the database of missing children. And amazingly, their product already identified 17,000 missing children. Everything thanks to the power of the data from the web. That's something you couldn't do otherwise. There's just no way you could do this manually. So, how to use Apify? The easiest way to get started is in Apify Store. It's really an app store where we have hundreds of ready-made tools, we call them actors, for all kinds of different use cases. So for example, you need data from Instagram, well, we have an actor for that. Or you need data from Google Search, well, Google Search doesn't have an API, but we have an actor for that. Or from Google Maps, or we have hundreds of different actors for different use cases, and new ones are appearing every day. Actually, they are built by our community as well, so any developer can come and build their own tool and even charge money for that. And this way, you just come to the store, or you find it online or Google, and with just a few clicks, you can try it out, and if you like it, you can subscribe to a paid plan and start using it right away. So it's super easy. Anybody can start it in a few minutes. But of course, sometimes you won't find a ready-made tool in our store for your use case. So you can build your own. Our platform is entirely open, so we provide all the capability we have, through an API, and we provide a lot of code examples, documentation, tooling, libraries, and an SDK, which you can use to build, new actors in just a very short time, and it's super simple. And you don't need to worry about the scaling of the infrastructure. You will just focus on the business problem you want to tackle, build it, and we take care of the rest. The platform just scales. Coincidentally, our Apify SDK became the world's most popular library for web scraping and automation in Node.js and JavaScript. We are the de facto standard way how to do this sort of problems in JavaScript with like more than 3,000 stars on GitHub. And it's all open source. But of course, some customers, they don't find existing solution or they don't want to build their own. So they can order a custom solution from us. So they just come to our website, fill the form with basic information about their project, and somebody from our team will reach out to them. And then either our in-house delivery team or our network of partners, which ranges from like freelancers to like big software houses that can deliver even the most complex solutions for the high-end clients, will deliver the solution at the right time and the right way. So it's really simple. You just fill the form, and somebody will reach out to you, and in a few weeks you can be up and running. So the reason why customers like Apify is the speed and flexibility, which is mainly thanks to the power of the platform. I would like to use a quote from one of our customers who said, one of our biggest customers, actually, it's a well-known global car manufacturer, and they said, well, before other vendors finish negotiation and writing the specifications of the project, you were already delivering the data. And that's because we could do these things like that, deliver them extremely quickly, either we or our partners, and you just reuse all the different actors we already have, all our different tools, and it can be up and running in just a few days or weeks. So, some numbers now. So,
Jan, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm going to have to stop you at this because we really need to get the jury to ask questions. So let's just hope that they will ask you about this stuff.
Don't worry. I'll start with the first question. Jan, can you tell us about your traction?
All right, so we have a $5 million annual run rate now, and with only $500,000 capital raised. We are doubling every year, and it's growing nicely. But we actually, there's more metrics I can even mention. So we have 65 people on the team. Most of the revenue is coming from the US, and we have extremely low customer acquisition cost payback period of only 2 months. So what's next for us? We want to raise a Series A later this year, and then invest heavily into sales and marketing to basically accelerate the growth, because we are at the stage we feel, by investing more into sales and marketing, we can grow much faster. Put an office in the US, and so on. So
brilliant.
Is it working? Yeah. I just have a basic question. What is your business model? I'm confused a little bit. Is it a software for people to build API? Is it a marketplace, or is it also a custom building solutions for clients, or all of the above?
Well, in a way, all of the above, but they are really working in symbiosis. So we have the self-service offering, which is working as the main acquisition channel. So people find us, start using it right away, and eventually they might reach some limit, or they might want something more. So then they are looking for a custom solution, and then that's where the fully managed offering comes in.
Make it simple for me. I love the 5 million, the 3 buckets.
Yeah. So one third is the self-service, and 2/3 is the enterprise fully managed offering.
So you're basically still a service company.
Well, we would like to think that way. And what we're really building is, we don't want to deliver the
you make
solutions.
any money so the marketplace you make no money out of, like other people putting things. You don't have a marketplace business model.
Oh, we are actually building it. So we charge. People can put their tools in the App Store, the actors, charge money on that. But we want to funnel most of the money now to the developers so that they can actually build more.
Right, but you're not doing it right now.
We are actually, but let's say.
So did I miss something between 1/3 and 2/3? There's something.
Oh no. Well, let's say most of the tools in store were still built by us internally, or by people that we paid, and there's no charge.
So you don't really have a community of people building. It's mainly you guys building and putting on the marketplace.
Well, we have it's a longer story, but we have something we call marketplace, where we have freelance developers who are actually building those actors either for custom solutions, but they are also building them for the Apify store. So, but really this is a part of the self-service offering that works, as the main acquisition channel. And we don't expect this is going to generate the majority of the revenue, but it just brings the leads, and people want to touch something and try and play with it, and then they like the offering, and they like, okay, so can you help us? You know, can we get an SLA with you, and so on.
I'm trying to kind of balance out, you know, customers who don't want you to say who they are. That said, I think your examples were very good, right? And so that's powerful. But go back to customers who don't want to necessarily say who they are. Two, almost like too good to be true, where you guys are at with such little money. And then three, the internet, which is this game of cat and mouse, kind of constant game of cat and mouse. I guess the question, maybe the elephant in the room is, you know, because of that cat and mouse and changing things, like, can you be stopped? Especially, I like the Ashton Kutcher example, is like people, you know, nefarious people actually want you to not succeed, right? For greater good. And so in that internet game of cat and mouse, how are you stopped?
Yeah, so some websites, they don't want to be scraped, so they are using technical ways to protect the data extraction, but there's always a way around it, because at the end of the day, they want to provide the data publicly to, you know, the users and customers. So in a way, you have a bit of an advantage, because, you know, if they stop providing data, or just, you know, I'm sure everybody saw CAPTCHAs, and, you know, it damages the customer experience or user experience. So in a way, there's always a way around it. And, you know, we have quite advanced technology that uses real web browsers, you know, browser fingerprinting techniques and so on, to work around these techniques. So I would argue there's always a way around it. Just always like question of the cost, and, you know, how much value is in the data for you, and how much the other part like values their data.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
Just one last question, maybe. Do you guys also get into data partnerships, like places where you think you are kind of blocked, where you are unable to kind of get data? Like, think, for example, LinkedIn, or think Glassdoor. There are a lot of people who want to get that data, but LinkedIn doesn't allow. So is there a partnership model also which you have explored to get this data for people?
Yeah, so we have partners, either like smaller developers, like individual freelancers who can deliver the solutions on top of the platform, but we are working on scaling our partner network, we call them Apify solution providers, which is like larger companies, software houses that can actually, you know, maintain the relationship with the clients and deliver the complex solutions themselves, so that we can just provide the platform and the technology and scale in a very similar way as UiPath is doing that, actually.
Question to your product roadmap. So what's the next steps in your product roadmap?
All right, so we definitely want to increase the number of actors in the store. You know, there's like so many different automation use cases where the technology can help you, which might not be worth enough for building a new startup around, but maybe some developer can, you know, or company can build, you know, a tool to, you know, I don't know, something silly like automate backups from Notion, which is like a small business problem, not worth of a startup, but, you know, there can be like this like long tail of different new products built on the platform. And with ever more products, we have ever more users, ever more developers in the community, and really the ecosystem is just growing. And this is also like becoming a competitive mode again, so to make it hard for other companies to replace us. So we really want to improve the platform, improve the number of tools or products built on top of it, and then, you know, also improve our delivery and the high-end offering. So that's on the roadmap.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jan. This is all we've got time for this presentation. Thanks a lot, Jan, and give a round of applause to Apify.
Thank you.
And we've got one more scale-up to pitch today, and I would like us to give a new round of applause to the next pitching founder. The company is called Powerful Medical, coming from Slovakia, and I am very pleased to invite Martin Herman, the CEO and co-founder of Powerful Medical. Let's get him on the screen and give him a round of applause. Hi, Martin.
Hi. So I put down my volume a bit so I don't hear an echo. But anyway, thanks for the warm introduction, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I got sick. But anyway, my name is Martin, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Powerful Medical. And at Powerful Medical, we're really developing life-saving technology, and we're tackling one of the biggest challenges of modern medicine, and that is cardiovascular diseases. And cardiovascular diseases are the #1 cause of death worldwide, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. So in order to diagnose cardiac conditions, there is this gold standard tool. It's the 12-lead ECG. And there's really ECGs being done everywhere. So every ambulance call out, they do an ECG. Every emergency room visit almost, they do an ECG. If you're over 45, once a year, you should get an ECG done by your general practitioner. And of course, before every surgery, they also have to do an ECG. And really, if an experienced cardiologist looked at the ECG, he can diagnose about 60 different cardiac conditions from it. And it's quite complicated because you can have 2 or 3 at once. However, we know that 9 out of 10 of these ECGs are not being looked at by cardiologists. They're being looked at by the nurse, by the emergency responder, by the general practitioner. And these guys often don't even have the training to be able to specifically tell whether the ECG is normal or abnormal. And that's why we decided to create a tool so every doctor with access to an ECG machine can interpret these ECGs like a cardiologist with really 15 years of experience. In order to do this, we had to team up with really great medical partners and industry leaders from the medical field. We've obtained really millions of digital patient histories containing ECGs, blood tests, echo, basically all documentation of the patient in relation to cardiovascular diseases. Those institutions included the biggest cardio center in Belgium, in Aalst, the Rabin Medical Center in Tel Aviv, the University Turin, and Aetius Health, one of the biggest telemedicine providers in Spain. And this list is still growing. And now let me introduce to you PM Cardio, our clinical assistant, using which any physician with access to an ECG machine can interpret the ECG like a cardiologist with really years of experience. And here I'm actually not going to use the slides. I'm going to switch and I'm going to do a live demo. You should see my phone screen now. As I said, it needed to be a tool that is really convenient. We needed to package all of this complex AI technology into something really easy to use. So let me show you how it works. It's a mobile app for iOS and Android. The physician or the nurse or the emergency responder starts off by creating a new report. They take a picture of the ECG. There we go. And they enter a couple of patient parameters. So let's say this is an ECG of a patient who has chest pain. He's 85 years old and he's a male. We've developed a very complex image recognition algorithm that is able to digitize ECGs from any machine out there. And within 5 seconds, we're able to diagnose about 60 different cardiac conditions. So here we see a patient who has a STEMI, which is a heart attack, and a sinus bradycardia, which is another diagnosis also present before the patient. Of course, the heart attack is more critical, so let's take care of that first. And besides being able to take care of besides being able to diagnose the patient, we're also able to give the doctor or emergency responder treatment recommendations. So let's check how this works. So in order to give the recommendation, we still need to ask a couple of follow-up questions, of course, all in line with the latest clinical practice guidelines. So let me fill out these questions here, and let's see what the recommendation will be. So in this case, for this patient, my phone froze. For this patient, in this case, the treatment recommendation would be fibrillonic therapy. And of course, immediately refer the patient to the hospital. Furthermore, besides being able to digitize any ECG, we can also help the doctor with a number of measurements that they, to this day, use rulers to measure on the ECG. You might have noticed it's printed on millimeter paper. And I think the coolest thing in the final step, if the doctor is still not sure what to do next with the patient, he can basically share with any physician in his contact list, and if they use the app as well, they can immediately consult the case in a secure way right from within the application. So let me go back to the presentation here. Okay, here we go. And as I said, we are a fully certified medical device under the new European regulation. We also have a date with the FDA in March next year. And at the moment, the new European regulation is actually harder than getting the FDA approval. So we really believe that the FDA approval will be something that we will really obtain within the next quarters of next year. The process has already been started, and so far it looks really good. But beside this, which is really, in our eyes, the minimum viable product of what we could do with all the data that we had available, we're also doing a ton of clinical research with our partners. And this is really getting into territory that even the doctors, the cardiologists cannot do. At the moment, we have a couple ongoing studies, and they include, we're able to predict mortality risk for patients with heart failure. So we're able to say, this patient with heart failure, based on parameters, is this likely to die within the next month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. And we're also able to predict which treatment option is the best for the specific patient. This is, of course, something that is pending a clinical trial, and this will also be added to the clinical assistant PM cardio in the future. Furthermore, for heart attack patients, we're not only able to diagnose whether the patient has a heart attack or not, we're also able to tell where the heart attack is located, what is the percentage of the blockage of the artery, what is the tissue damage, what is the prognosis of the patient. And again, this module will be added to the application within the next year. And last but not least, one of the coolest studies that we're doing is trying to predict cardiovascular disease before they happen. So once you come for a routine checkup, now we might be able to tell you what will happen to your heart in 4 or 5 years' time. And this is actually solving one of the biggest problems of modern medicine. Healthy patients don't like to go to their routine checkups. So if you get them to come to the routine checkup, you better give them as much information as you can. And of course, being already certified, adding these outcomes or these research outcomes to the product is quite easy. We just need to do a clinical trial, let the certificator know that we're making a change, and it takes about 3 months to get it into the application. Now, the million-dollar question, how do we make money on this? It's actually a bit more complex than you can see on the slide here, but let's assume we're talking about primary care, so the general practitioners. In primary care, we charge about 5 to 15 euros per patient coming through the application. And in most countries in Europe and in the US as well, they already have digital reimbursement codes where the insurance company actually reimburses the cost of using this digital device. Furthermore, all our technology is, of course, available via API. So we can integrate with telehealth solutions, such as we do with the Spanish telemedicine provider Atris, and we can integrate in other medical devices and existing hospital systems. And last but not least, we're a data company. We are actually currently running several studies with big pharma where we're trying to figure out the effectivity of their drugs on the market. Basically, not during the clinical trials, but what's now very interesting to see is how the drug actually performs in the market. And it is really cool.
Martin, once again, I'm sorry, but I have to stop you at this because you are a little bit over time.
Update.
Martin, can you hear me?
We're launched in 7 countries. We have been testing with 2,000 doctors. We just launched, though, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So by now, we're at about 3,500 doctors, and that number is growing about 200 per day. As I've said before, we're doing the FDA approval. You're trying to stop me, aren't you?
Yes, have been for a while. Can you get your volume up, please? Brilliant. Thank you so much. So I have to stop it because you are over time. So let's just hope that the judges will ask you about things that you're about to tell us. But before they start grilling you, I have to tell you, Martin, you are a brave man, and I want a round of applause to someone who decided to do a live demo during a pitch competition. This never goes right. Let's give a round of applause to Martin.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something in this regard? It has to go right. We're not a toy. We're a medical device. It has to work 100% out of 100% every time. And this is why I'm really not afraid to do a live demo whenever.
Brilliant.
Epic.
That's why you call Powerful Medical.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rishma.
I have no question. I just wanted to say that's right. That's exactly the statement. And could you tell some of our companies that too, please? But no, great job.
Right.
Thank you.
Martin, when we spoke last, we were talking about that certification from Germany, from the German certification company coming through. Has that come through? Because again, this is vital, as you said, you're a medical device company.
Yeah, so we've passed our final audit. Now the certification has changed from MDD to MDR. What this basically means, there's about 3,000 companies trying to recertify. So we have passed all the bureaucratic admin processes. What we are waiting for now is getting the CE mark. And this is something that, I'm happy that our consultants also confirmed on like several investors calls. There is nothing that can really go wrong here. It's basically once it's our turn, someone will put a stamp and we will get the CE mark, job done.
Martin, so basically what's next? I mean, what's the go-to-market approach? What's next? How do we go to the next level?
So one of the coolest things is we're one of the only, if not the only, medical devices that we can basically sell over the App Store. So what we're doing now is running really quite extensive marketing campaigns, which are bringing in with a budget of about 50 euros a day, about 250 users every day. And of course, this is something to give us like the starting mass of doctors. We want as many doctors to use the software. And at the same time, we have a direct sales team. So we hired a VP of sales, who was previously a VP of commercial strategy at digital surgery, who got acquired for $500 million by Medtronic last year. And he's really setting up the sales processes and the sales departments. We're really now collaborating with hospitals, pushing this to the hospitals. So not only the individual doctor use it, but the hospitals use it as a whole. Because it's not just one doctor, right? It's basically the nurse who does the ECG, the nurse at the emergency department who gets the first patients. They use the app to send it to the cardiologist who's on call, so he doesn't need to come downstairs. So to answer your questions, using social media and digital marketing channels, because we are one of the few companies in medtech that can, to push it out to the end user, to the doctor, and at the same time working with hospitals and insurance companies to really trying to close these enterprise deals.
I'm really surprised about how you got access to such data, and this is really sensitive data. I know in Germany this is really, really highly protected, but obviously you have, so well done. The question I have a bit is, so first of all, it's only for ECG or now you're so kind of anything around heart, but you're also applying or looking at in your roadmap at other things where you can apply this?
Oh yeah, like honestly, where the future is and why we started the company with my brother, who's now a doctor. The future is this. We believe that eventually, and we can start. That's already happening. You'll come to the hospital. A nurse takes your data. It goes into a system. Then another one does an ECG, goes into a system. Then you get MRI, CT, whatever other exams, and it all gets saved in the ideal world into your digital patient card, right? And now you come to the doctor's office, who now opens all of this data, and there's about 15 minutes to process potentially gigabytes of digital patient histories. And I think this is at the moment where the medical space is. They're trying to figure out how do we make this accessible so that really with every hospital you can come into it, put your digital patient card in there, and they will be able to see the data. But what we're already thinking of.
So you're saying you're not just limiting yourself to apps on a mobile. You're looking into integrating into wherever the data is, right?
What I'm saying is that nowadays everyone is figuring out how to save all the medical data into one central space. But they don't think really about in 15 years that's going to be useless, because in the 15 minutes that the doctor has with the patient, he will not review it. So what we're trying to build is that in 15 years, once all the data is digital available in one central location, we're able to analyze all of it, starting from cardio, and give the doctor a dashboard. This is wrong with the patients. This is what the guidelines say. This is the mortality prediction, treatment prediction, outcome prediction.
Got it. Then how do you make it explainable? See, I mean, these are all very highly educated doctors and so forth. And yes, your app is certified, but they may want to understand how it comes to that certain results because they have experience as well. How do you cater for those doctors? Can they call you and understand, or is there special training for them? How do you cater for that?
Well, in an ideal world, doctor is someone who can read the outcome of a clinical trial. Sadly, we know that that's not true. So we have, of course, other ways of explaining why this works. Testimonials definitely help as well. But I think ultimately the doctors realize their limitations in terms of diagnosis. Yeah, in the primary care level, which are the non-cardiologists, they really realize that they cannot tell this is normal, this is abnormal. Not even that, yeah. And then the cardiologists, those guys we convinced on the grounds of clinical trials, basically saying, okay, this is the clinical trial, this was the design, this is how it works for all of these patients. And I think one of the core things that we can do in our clinical trials is utilize outcome data. So what we actually did is we showed 2,500 ECGs to cardiologists. We asked them, what do you think was wrong with the patient? It was heart attack ECGs. And we knew the outcome from the catheterization lab where they could either conclusively confirm or deny whether this was a heart attack because they seen it through the catheter, right? And the success rate of the doctors versus like the outcome data was quite dismal. Yeah? So I think it's all about how we're able to design these clinical trials, if we're able to do them with reliable institutions such as the Belgians, the Israelis, and so forth, and if they're able to read the clinical trials. But so far we don't have
Martin,
issues.
thank you so much. I'm sorry, I have to stop you once again just because we are way over time already. And this is it for the pitch from Powerful Medical, and this is it for the pitching part of this competition. Thank you so much. And now it is time for us to let the jury go to a separate room from which they will not be allowed out of until they have decided on the winners of both the startup and the scale-up part. And while the jury on-site and off-site are deliberating, we are going to have a fireside chat with Martin Rehak, one of the former finalists of UiPath Automation Awards and the founder of Resistant AI. And if we can have one of the fancy chairs standing there on stage as well. Oh, Jan, thank you so much. Let's get together. Hi, Jan. Pleasure meeting you here. So I know that before we start the conversation, you actually have an announcement to make. So we probably will start from there, and then we sit down and discuss the announcement and the rest of the questions I've got for you. Would that work for you?
Absolutely.
Okay, then go ahead. It's your 5 minutes of fame.
So I think I don't need 5 minutes to announce what happened.
Yes, indeed.
But last time at this very stage, which was in Bucharest at that time, 2 years ago, we actually got funded the very same day because we shook hands with Andrzej, who's in the jury, and we closed the investment, which was the seed round between Credo, Index, and Seedcamp with Reshma, who's also in the jury and now in Florida. Today, we announced closing of our Series A investment with Google Ventures, Index Ventures, and all of the current investors, plus some. And I'm also pleased to say that Daniel Dinesh from UiPath is a direct investor in the company. So these competitions do matter because they help you to develop the company, to identify what matters and how can you address the market and the people around you. So thanks for the opportunity and thanks for the invitation.
Brilliant, thank you. So can you go into details? So how much have you raised? What's the deal?
So the total amount raised this year is $16.6 million, give or take. And it's something that we call preemptive Series A.
Mm-hmm. Preemptive Series A, okay.
The reason why we raised so early is that the opportunity is so big. Like we have seen many startups talking about automation, about opportunity, about the growth. And it's all linked to how the life changes for humans who have to work. But there are other humans who look at how things change and they start to steal money immediately. And especially in Eastern Europe, because this is, again, Eastern European Automation Awards, this is a thriving industry. And people who think about automation as an opportunity in the other way are numerous, and they go after every single case. The best analogy I can think about is spam.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea what percentage of emails sent today is spam?
I would say like 95?
Something like 99.99 something %. So the overwhelming majority of emails sent are spam. And because security industry has been working to cut their number in what you receive in the inbox, you don't perceive it, you don't see it, and they just disappear. But it led to creation of multi-billion-dollar industry that's doing nothing else, just filtering the marketing spam generated by other side. and they are still making money on both sides. And we see that this can happen in automation very easily.
Right, I see. Okay, let's take a seat and discuss what it is that you are actually doing. So, is resistant AI, is it something like a spam filter for the automation industry, for the fintech industry?
So, we like to think so. Because we mostly work with financial institutions, e-commerce institutions, and basically anyone who's onboarding customers online. To some extent, we like to stop people like Epify folks, sitting over there, because in many cases, the people who scrape the web are not nice guys like them. They are the bad guys. They are the ones who launder money. They are the guys who steal money. They are the guys who want to buy 1,000 things online with buy now, pay never model, which is a slight variation of buy now, pay later. And that is becoming very popular. So if you have a popular buy now, pay later service, which helps you to buy something online with minimal amount of hassle, people come and misuse that and try to ruin this for the others. And our job is to stop them, and our job is to make this secure service where you don't have to do 16 onboarding steps to verify the identity, blood group, EEG, and all of the other things that prove that you are a human and a specific human.
And what sort of magic do you then employ to find this fraudulent transaction, fraudulent behavior?
So, two kinds of magic. One of them is that, and this is something we actually stumbled on by accident, and that led us to the stage in Bucharest 2 years ago. Like, we were very smart when we started the company. We had earlier startups, so we were second-time founders. As a second-time founder, you make completely new set of mistakes when you look at the first-time founders. So we came to see the customer, number one. We got in and we started working on the buy now, pay later use case. Still one of our biggest customers, great friends and great partners. The second customer went to see it, was like, oh, interesting things you have, but I don't care. Can you check whether these documents are forged? And we said, well, not interesting, like there must be something on the market, and we just went away. We went to the third customer and he asked the same question. So we still ignored them because we are dumb. And then we go to the fourth customer and we get the same question again. So we took like 2 minutes to Google something, and we found out there is, when we put document forgery into Google, you know what are the first 5 services you find?
Actually forging documents?
Exactly. Like, you can go to Google, you put document forgery, and you can basically go online and order a forged document. You can get Canadian driving license, you can get a bank statement in basically any European country. You can get like a residential utility bill that you need to prove the address. And you can get this in something like 20 to 50 euros at best. And it almost feels like a legitimate service. So we couldn't find anyone trying to stop that. So we decided that we are the ones who will stop it. And we have 2 services. One of them is looking at multiple transactions, and we basically try to find the missing dot. Because if you are a criminal, you always make a mistake. You always get something wrong, because the operational security is not something that goes hand in hand with the efficiency. If you want to be perfectly secure as a criminal in today's world, it's not easy. I teach a whole class about how to commit crime in a secure way. And it's a very complex class, and most students fail. And you can read about El Chapo, the drug lord in Mexico, being caught by Americans despite like 6 layers of defense in his like security, because he was just talking to an actor, and NSA tracked the secondary mobile phone used by that actor, which he forgot turned on his body. And that was what actually led them to the Mexican drug mafia. So these things are very hard to get right. And criminals commit mistakes, and we go after them, and we stop them very soon. And the second product we have is application fraud, forgeries, even non-professional criminals who like apply for mortgages. Do you have a mortgage?
I do, sadly.
So by not committing fraud, you actually are losing money. In some cases, mortgage application fraud is up to 5% of applications. Not not everywhere, but these are kind of the worst, like the worst affected customers.
That's a very big number.
It's a very big number, and the funny thing is that most of them end up paying back the mortgage because it's kind of hard to pick up the house and disappear. The reason for the crime is different. We actually got mortgages submitted by a bank. I will not name the bank or the country. And we found fraud in documents which were actually submitted by mistake, where they didn't expect any fraud to be found. And the story was very simple. What the customers forged were the counter offers by other banks. Because if you have a bank account and you apply for a mortgage in your bank, you get the worst price, typically. When you go to other banks and you say, I'm a customer of other bank and I will go to you and move to you if you give me mortgage, they shave like 0.5% of rate or something like that. So then you take that offer and bring it back to your original bank and they match the price. So some people were skipping the step number 2 and they only forged that document based on someone else's counter offer, presented it to their bank immediately, and they got a very nice offer out of the way. So that's a very efficient way how you can commit fraud and save money on mortgage. And in some countries, it's not even criminal. So in some countries, you may not go to jail unless we are already used by our bank, and in that case, it's tough luck.
Wow, this is really interesting. So is this how big a part of what you're doing are these kind of cases?
It's pretty big. Like I spent basically more than 15 years of my life doing cyber security. So we started when there were like 3 security products and none of them using machine learning. And it was a really bad word to use in the security context. No one was saying, like everyone was saying, machine learning is a nonsense in security, which philosophically it is, but it's super useful still. When we were leaving the industry after starting a startup, going through the Cisco acquisition and building a highly successful AI machine learning center in Prague for Cisco, we were serving something like 25 million users in largest corporations, Cisco customers. And the team keeps growing, so they are at something like 70 million by now, at least. And that's the scale you can reach with major corporation. But what we love is starting new things. We love to go where the crime is evolving, and automation is the biggest change in the industry. And finance is the most effective one, because effectively you are selling a commodity, you are selling money. So fraud is super efficient when applied to finance.
Interesting. And how are you different than from any other player? Because, I know a few players doing very similar things, also trying to stop fraudulent transactions and document forgery and stuff like that. So what's your USP been?
So surprisingly few companies do document forgery other than ID documents. So there is a thriving industry of identity verification with companies like Jumio or OnFido and the others that verify identity of customers on different levels of certainty. And they still get attacked. So even if you get a live video of the customer, someone who's basically taking video of himself with a mobile phone, just yesterday a company in Amsterdam announced that they are offering a service how to penetrate this and basically produce a deepfake video for onboarding.
That was supposed to be impenetrable.
Well, nothing is impenetrable. Like that's the only thing I learned in 15 years of security, is that it never works. It always works only until the moment when someone is smarter. There is like infinite escalation game, which is what keeps me employed. So I'm quite happy about it.
So do you mean that this is going to be just a forever game of whack-a-mole with cyber criminals?
It's in some cases you can resolve a specific use case, and in many cases we manage to resolve that quite efficiently. Let's say we have notaries in many countries, to great pleasure of VC investors who have to travel to Germany to sign something in their blood, literally, because that's the only way how to sign something in Germany. While in the US you use DocuSign for anything, but the risk of the fraud increases, obviously. So there is always a trade-off between convenience and security. You can have 5-factor authentication to access a website, but that's hugely annoying, and most people would give up after third factor. So, and again, it will give you huge security, but also 0 customers. So perfect security is always a trade-off, and there is always going to be some space left for fraud and for innovation. What's interesting is the disruption, when basically the industry changes so much that it's easy and cheap to commit crime. And automation is just a disruption like that, because it makes crime very easy.
Okay, I see. So we're almost talking about crime as a service now, crime as a commodity.
It's not almost, like you literally buy crime as a service. Like there is an old joke saying that if you basically contract a killing on a dark web, you have bigger than 50% chance that you are contracting FBI. So like don't buy anyone's debt on the dark web. But if you think about more pedestrian crimes like stealing money or forging documents or defrauding financial institutions, like no one cares. There is single units of people arrested for crimes like that in a country like Poland or Czech Republic. There is, and this, according to UK statistics, represents more than 60 to 70% of crimes. So imagine that if police leaves 70% crimes unaddressed and they just ignore them, the motivation to do this is enormous.
But your own technology, as far as I understand, also doesn't necessarily solve it in full, because you are stopping the criminals rather than actually pursuing them and tracking them down.
That would be hugely entertaining, obviously. But it's not a good business model, because if you stop the criminals and send them to jail, you have no one else to fight. But obviously, more seriously, we obviously can't do this as a private company, at least not in Europe. It's a little bit frowned upon by the police. The actual reason is that it's much easier and cheaper to stop them from committing crime. Investigation doesn't scale. Investigation means lots of paperwork, lots of food work. It means talking to people, and that's something that you automate with difficulties. But what we can do for the police is that basically we tell them those 75 transactions, all of them are frauds, and they all are committed by the single person, and he or she lives in this area. So, and this is the way how you get him or get her.
I see. So you don't think that one day you or any other company would be able to solve the fintech fraud like fully, or at least like 99%, so that it won't make sense anymore to try to commit this kind of offenses?
So I think we will be able to solve the fraud as we see it today. So if we look at the way how the fraud is committed today, it's something we can solve. But what's interesting is that the way how people commit fraud changes dramatically every single day, which is actually unusual. You mentioned plenty of like fraud companies. The way how we differentiate is that if you look at the payment fraud, it hasn't changed too much in the last 10 years. It's basically you buy credit cards on the dark web, you go buy something with those, the merchant gets hit by a chargeback, and you have stock full of iPhones which you resell on the black market. Which is nice, but it's kind of over and over again, it's the same business model. With buy now, pay later, with like digital services, with financial application services, we see new kinds of fraud. Because those automation systems give you plenty of new opportunities that were not there before. Like if you imagine you live in a small town, you walk into the bank branch to take a loan, which no one does today, but people used to do that. And you do this 50 times per day with 50 different IDs. Around time number 10 or 12, even very lazy bankers will notice that something is going wrong, because the same guy is here with 12 names. If you do the same thing on the API, if you just call the API of the bank 12 times with different names, no one gives a damn. They just give you 12 loans if you check all of the boxes. And this is the scaling factor that changes everything.
Right, I understand. So let's make a really quick pivot, and I also wanted to ask you more of an entrepreneurial set of questions about your own journey, because you mentioned before that you are a second-time founder. So what was the first company you founded, and what did you do before that?
So, as I mentioned, we were working in the domain of cybersecurity. So we were originally a university team, so we built a spin-off company from the university, called the company Cognitive Security, and we spun out in 2008/9. We got some angel-like funding, and we became the first investment ever of Credo Ventures' first fund,
right,
which was hugely amusing because none of us knew quite how to do the term sheet and negotiations. Don't tell Andrzej. But it worked out amazingly well. Like, we built a great relationships. We basically built the seed stage company. And when we were raising Series A, Cisco Systems, who was our OEM partner, basically made an offer for the whole company. And I was inexperienced enough to accept. So we sold the company in 2013, essentially half a year before Snowden came out, and this basically changed security forever. So timing, actually, it worked out super well for us, but it could have worked out a little bit better. We still enjoyed the growth we basically lived through with Cisco, because it gave us a huge boost. It gave us an attention and scale and support of a big corporation. So we learned how to do security business. And now we are at a second startup, because after 6 years in a big corporation, startup people kind of tend to get out.
And how different is what you're building now from what you built back then?
So not enough. It's a common joke, and it's very typical especially in security field. Like, when you age like I do, you become less intelligent with time, or different kind of intelligence. So you tend to build the same thing over and over again. So we decided, rather than to embarrass ourselves and compete with our past startup,
right,
we decided to change the industry. So our logic was, we thought about, if we were to become criminals, hypothetically, how would we commit crime today? And we basically saw companies giving out free cash on the internet called fintechs. And we thought, well, this looks like an obvious place where to start. It's something where automation makes them vulnerable. No one understands what makes them secure. Mm-hmm. And it's very easy to scale up the crime as well as the defense. So this feels, it felt, and it still feels like the optimal breeding ground for the startup.
Right. At the same time, however, okay, you are a security-focused company, but all these fintechs that are, as you say, are given free cash over the internet, they also have their own security teams in place. What are they doing then?
So they obviously, I was exaggerating just a little bit. Some of the best fintechs are obviously some of the best and surviving because they thought about this.
Yeah.
Some of them don't think about it too much. If you look at the investment climate over the last couple of years, it has been crazy, because you have seen preemptive Series A rounds like ours, which I don't mean to say my investors are crazy, but it wouldn't have been possible 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Which means that there is plenty of money on the market which can hide plenty of mistakes. Because having ample cash at hand is pretty useful when you need to hide a mistake which you make, and you always make mistakes as a startup. So if you make a bad risk decision, you lose money and you raise more money from the investors. So some of the biggest fundraisers in the fintech are actually motivated by the losses. And top line growth is occasionally seen as more important than the bottom line, because it's very hard to say what is marketing expense and what is actually systemic fraud issue.
I see what you mean. It's interesting that you keep saying that people make mistakes. So the criminals always make mistakes, the startups always make mistakes. Who doesn't then?
I think that everyone makes mistakes. I make plenty, people, and I think it's a human nature. If you are in a very dynamic environment and you learn, you basically learn by making mistakes. And it's very important not to make the ones that either get you to jail if you are a criminal, or that basically kill your startup if you are an entrepreneur like myself. So avoid these, but cheap mistakes where you can learn quickly are pretty good to make occasionally, not too much.
Right, right. That makes a lot of sense. So, and you mentioned that you span off the university in 2008, 2009. How was it? What was the ecosystem, like entrepreneurial ecosystem, like in the region back then? Because it was like, I wouldn't say non-existent, but it was much smaller, wasn't it?
I don't think there was much of an ecosystem. I got introduced to Ondřej Bartoš by someone who basically later joined Cisco as a business development person, whose startup was financed by Ondřej when he was working for MCI. And MCI folks basically forced him to break his word, and he left MCI because he couldn't do this as a human. So, which obviously led me to take money from him. Because people matter more than any kind of valuation or conditions that are on paper. So there was no ecosystem, a couple of people talking to each other. Today, on this very day, we announced the investment. Rosum AI, another document processing company in Prague, announced even bigger investment, Series A, and one other company, a development tool company in Prague, announced an exit. So on a single day, basically 10 years later, you have 3 different funding occasions, which is something that's unprecedented. This would have been a year 10 years ago. So the strength of the ecosystem in the Eastern Europe is getting better. I think Poland is the same, Romania is the same, and it's the magic of the technology that you can basically take talent of the people here and sell it globally. So that's what we love.
Right. And then what do you think are still the challenges then? What is not there yet in the ecosystem?
I think what's missing is the big scaled up companies that all have global presence. So I can make a shameless plug to UiPath, which is a partner of ours. Like, we need more companies like that in Central Eastern Europe, because they actually provide the market how to do the exit, and they provide a scaling machine for startups. So if you have a startup which is very good technically but doesn't have enough commercial experience, it can end up being a very successful product in a big company. And if you have that big company, if you don't, you sell it to someone outside of the region and the money goes there. And you only see the money for the startup. I think that's a different level of maturity, and that's what I see in Israel, where basically they were in a similar stage 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and through a success stories of startups, scale-ups, and basically local industry being built out, they managed to build the industry from the ground up. And that's something we should replicate here locally.
And you're mentioning these technologically strong companies with less sales prowess. Is this something you see a lot of in the region in general?
Yes. Well, I'm a primary example. Hopefully not so much anymore, but you can ask my investors. They will give you a more honest opinion. But I think we definitely have more technology background than business background in this region.
Right.
That's why in the current startup, basically, most of the sales team is hired in Western Europe. We have an office in London where we do the sales, and we definitely believe that you should combine talent from people all around the globe. You shouldn't basically just over-focus on one region. Again, UiPath is and has been great in identifying talent globally and basically building a culture that spans the whole globe.
And how hard has it been for you, this sort of internationalizing coming from this part of Europe?
I don't think it's too hard. Like, I don't think it matters too much anymore. Like, again, years ago, the joke is that Eastern Europeans are something like Mexicans of Europe, which is...
in which sense?
Like, meaning if you talk to American and say this is made in Mexico, there is a certain impression of low cost, lesser quality products, although it's definitely not true anymore. If you talk to French people, they would say the same about something that comes from here. But technologically, it's no longer true. you get much better outcome and value for money locally than you would get in Western Europe. And on average, obviously. But what we don't have is the brand. What we don't have is those global companies that basically increase the value and the perception of the region.
Absolutely.
And that's something we have to develop. And that's something that's coming naturally with time.
Yeah. And you know, I was interviewing someone else today, and they said that one of the things that they see as a sign of maturing ecosystem growing up, is that the entrepreneurs in Eastern Europe have become much more self-confident. They are not like this humble, modest, technical people sitting in their basements, but they are much more willing to actually step up and talk about their products and sell their products and be very confident about what they are doing. Is that something you see as well?
Well, I saw it on myself. So with cognitive security, the first version of the product actually had graphs and histograms on the title page. Not a mistake I would do again. So it's something you can learn, and it's something you must learn as a founder of the startup. So many of the founders in the region come from very technical backgrounds and didn't feel comfortable talking to public. But as a startup founder, this is your job. So you have to do it, you have to learn it. If you are not willing to do it, go find a different job, essentially, or go find a co-founder for the startup. But it's simply something you cannot you have to do it, basically.
Right, I understand. So, and since we already talked about challenges for the ecosystem, what are yours then?
Well, every startup is a sequence of catastrophes. Like, there is nothing else, basically. And there is moments of euphoria in between. But our challenges are basically twofold. Mm-hmm. Because if you build a security startup, you want to live in the equilibria. If you catch and stop all the crime and you basically outsmart criminals way too much, you destroy the market. Because then everyone can follow you and there is no differentiation. Mm. If you don't catch all the criminals, your customers pick up the phone and call you, why didn't you catch this guy and why didn't you catch that guy? So what's important is the strategic positioning. You have to work in the areas where crime can evolve. You can evolve and you can match the criminals in how they are getting better. If there is a winning move for either side, it can be a great thing for humanity, but it's not a startup. Because it's just a small product or a small solution, which gets open source very quickly. What we see in the fintech and for a company, what is good about the market we are in is that strategically, there is so much change that those equilibria are plentiful. Mm-hmm. You can always find a new service that you can misuse. You can always find a service like, you can simply just do this and think about a crime. So we just saw a pitch about Epify. And we saw a pitch about essentially feeding pigs before, the one stuck in my mind. You can take those two startups and you can combine it. Because you can use Epify to scrape someone else's pig production data, and then you can trade futures and you can basically commit insider trading on public market of that company. So basically you are one hack and two products away of committing insider trading in the US stock market without ever setting the feet in the US and without ever doing something. And obviously this is a hypothetical crime, but if you are an innovative criminal, you should think about fintech. Like, I'm not convincing anyone in the room, because there are so many opportunities to commit cool crimes that no one has designed before yet.
So if you're watching this from home or from this room, this is in no way, shape or form encouraging you to commit any crimes at all.
Well, it's called market building and creation, right?
Yeah, so. I see. Because you need people to catch, right? So you gotta breed more criminals for yourself.
Exactly.
Right, and so it's been 2 years since you were one of the finalists of the UiPath Automation Awards. So looking at today's finalists in both, and you were in the startup, right? You were in the startup part of it.
Yeah, very much a startup. We were like 7 months in before raising anything at all. So
what would it be now after 2 years? What would it be for advice that you could give to both startups and scale-ups in the competition? What should they be looking for? What should they be aware of? What do you think?
I think I saw some pretty amazing presentations. Like, I'm genuinely surprised and actually humbled by the quality of what I saw today. And what's great is that companies here, if you like accent aside, basically you could put them into Y Combinator on stage and they would very much fit there. So I don't see too many differences. And I think the jury did have a very hard job of picking the winner because there were some very strong contenders in here. So now I'm actually waiting impatiently to see what's the outcome, who's the winner.
Do you have your own bets? You don't have to say who exactly that is, but do you think you know who will win?
I have some ideas.
Okay,
but I'm not going to say it.
I will catch you after this, and I will check whether your ideas were right. I'm really interested. I have my own bets as well, so we can compare our notes afterwards. And now, at this point, thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Martin. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I see that the jury is back, and we are just about to learn the names of the winners. For now, this is Martin Rehag, the founder and CEO at Resistant AI, that's just raised a whole lot of money. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello, welcome back to the UiPath Automation Awards, the finals of the third edition of this startup competition. We've just had a great set of 6 pitches of startups and scale-ups that participate in these finals. And now the jury is back from their deliberation room to announce the winners. So let me ask to come on Varga Moye, Chief Strategy Officer at UiPath, and Ursula Morgenstern, the President, Global Growth Markets at Cognizant, to give out the awards. And we shall start with Ursula for the Scale Up Award. So give us the reasons first, then give us the winner, and then the winner will have a minute to talk about how excited they are. Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it was, as you have guessed, a very heated debate about the 3 final pitches we had. I think we all loved the diversity of ideas. We had very different solutions. We had, I think, all really clear ideas of how to make money, how to go to market and how to create a commercial success. But so at the end, the winner we chose was because I think the use of the data, the use of the technology, and really the innovative go-to-market idea, which we thought was very special by using technology, consumer-led go-to-market and consumer-led go-to-market approach and apply it onto doctors. So Powerful Medical is the winner of the Scale Up Prize. Congratulations.
And let's get Powerful Medical on screen. This is great. So you do a live demo at a pitch competition, and you get the prize. That's something to learn. Do we have Powerful Medical? Yeah, here we are, Martin. Congratulations.
I already celebrated. We
have the camera can show it.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it can. Great. Yeah, that's good. So, Martin, anything you want to say? Anything you want to add?
Well, I'm very happy, obviously, to have won this award, and it's definitely very motivating to receive the award from a panel of judges like here. And what can I say? I think we've been really working for the past 5 years, right, like crazy. And I think as we now got certified, Now is where the fun begins. Now is when the technology will really start saving lives. And I'm sure that during the pilots, we actually already did. And interestingly enough, we were at a conference last week where we brought an ECG machine and we did ECGs for random members of the conference. And we actually found 5 or 6 people who had like insignificant diagnosis, but they still didn't know that they had them. And of course, later they went to check with the cardiologist as well. So again, thank you very much. And I'm very sad I couldn't show up in person.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks a lot for your great pitch. Thanks a lot for your great work, and good luck with everything. So you're getting 1 year worth of a lot of support from UiPath, and you're getting 25,000 worth of AWS credits. Now, Varga, it is your turn to give us the winner of the startup part of today's finals. So first, give us your reasons, then the name.
Well, again, I mean, congratulations to all 3 finalists. And before I say the name of the winner, I just want also to say for those who will not win, don't despair. You saw Resistant AI was part of the finalists. They did not win. That did not impede them to be very successful. It's already great that you made it to this stage. Don't forget there were 120 competitors. So, give yourself a round of applause, regardless if you're going to be the winner or not. Having said that, unfortunately in life you do have to choose when they say there is only one winner. And I think the common theme of it appears of this year's awards is that we decided to leave the confine of the enterprise in the traditional way, and that we also have in common that we truly believe at UiPath that automation can be used for good. So the winner of the Startup Award is also a company that is proving that automation can be used for good. So I'm very happy and proud to say that the winner of the Automation Award Startup categories is Circuit, and I think that will make some pigs happy tonight.
Congratulations to Circuit. And can we have the presenter from Circuit on our screen, please? So this is amazing. This is amazing. Both winners are the online pitchers, and I'm not sure if we can still have Circuit on screen. But let's just bring.
Circuit did not believe they're going to win, so he just switched off already.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm here. I'm here, guys. Do you hear me?
Brilliant. No, we don't see you, but we can very well hear you. Can you turn on your camera or remove whatever's blocking it? I think something is blocking it actually.
You don't see me?
Where are you?
Yeah, indeed. Are you already in a farm or?
No, I have a newborn son, and we are just out for a walk. So,
oh, that's great! And congratulations, Christoph. So this is great news, a great time for you. So let's get the second part of the trophy on stage. So it's a 50,000 euro cash prize, together with a whole lot of support from UiPath for the coming year. So Christoph, once again, congratulations. Your image is frozen, but I see you smiling on stage, and I'm pretty sure that this is what you're doing right now. So. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Thanks a lot, Christoph. Thanks a lot, Circuit. Thank you. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again. So let's get a round of applause for everyone pitching today. It's been a great evening of pitches. Great startups, great scale-ups have presented today. Once again, thanks a lot to UiPath for giving back to the community. Thanks a lot to our judges, Ursula, Varga, Andrei, Boris, Reshma, and Shonam online. Thanks a million. This is a wrap for today. Varga, if you have anything to add, this is the time.
Yeah, I would just like to also thank you to the World Summit to hosting the awards. And the last previous 2 rounds have seen winners from Poland and Romania. This time we're in Poland, but the winners were from other parts of the CEE. Again, those who are still the finalists should not despair. Congratulations to having made it so far. Thanks.
Thank you, Varga. Thanks, everyone, and good luck.